Hey you guys, thank you so much for stopping by Galadon Gaming for some more Clash Royale action today. I am breaking out the crystal ball and talking about the future, the near-term, short-term future of Clash Royale and where I see us going in the next balancing and the next couple of updates. Now, of course, you guys may know that the YouTubers that are putting out content that is related to, say, sneak peeks and updates are guys who have access to early information from time to time that Supercell passes on to us so that we can make videos to help bring the news to you guys. But right now, I don't have any information. I don't, so I'm able to talk about whatever my heart desires right now without risking giving anything up. So I'm just going to be shooting from the hip, talking about where I feel the game is probably going and what I would like to see and what I expect to see in future updates. Now, there are some things that I'm going to talk about that I don't really want to see that I think are going to happen anyway, and that just comes down to the way that we've seen the Clash Royale team keep the game in balance up to this point. Obviously, the first grade rule to Clash Royale balancing is this: if you see a card all the time, expect a nerf. If you never see a card, expect a buff. And that has been what we've seen so far for the past few months. Now remember, this game is so young. We're only like 6 months into Global, and there is so much to yet be added to the game. Just compare it to where Clash of Clans was 6 months into that game. There was no Town Halls 9, 10, 11, no such thing as golems, no clan wars, of course. We were so far away from things like that. And that, again, I keep on saying it, is where Clash Royale is. It's in its infancy. There is so much yet to come to this game. We've got, what, 54 cards in the game. So many more cards are going to come and all sorts of things that I'm sure I can't even possibly imagine. And so I wanted to talk about what I hope to see and what we expect to happen. And I will start out with what I think is probably bad news for some players, and that is, what are the 3 cards that you see by far the most in the game right now? In my opinion, it is Royal Giant, Hog Rider, and maybe Princess. Or at least those are the 3 cards that I see that are the closest thing to overpowered right now. And likely we will see a balancing that might bring those into line somehow. Now again, I personally prefer balancing by addition rather than subtraction, but I would not be surprised if we saw balancing to those 3 cards and maybe 1 or 2 others. And again, that balancing can come in the speed that that card travels, the deployment time, the damage it deals, or the amount of hit points that it has. Any of those things, but right now, those are the cards that I feel like are kind of dominating the meta. On the opposite end of the spectrum, what are the cards you see the least? I hate to say it, but the card you see the absolute least right now has got to be the Expo. Now, I doubt that the Royale team is ever going to completely remove a card from the game, although, of course, many would like to see that done to the Mortar and the Expo. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a change in those cards in the future to make them utilized a little bit more. Ideally, for me, it would be so that they couldn't reach the towers, but they might be more useful on defense rather than get them back into the offensive side because they are just so annoying over there. But we'll see. Again, I have nothing to do with influencing what happens, but if I did, I would not make the Mortar or the Expo part of an offensive deck in the future. Maybe buff it on defense. Obviously, they want to keep the card usage towards the middle, meaning the cards that are overused, bring them down, cards that are underused, pushed back up. Now, as for new cards, I would expect, of course, over the coming weeks, months, and years, that we will see all sorts of new cards. Again, only 54 right now. That is going to grow just immensely. And for me, the card that I hear the most people asking about would be, what about adding a healer to Clash Royale? Personally, I don't like it. I'm not a fan of adding a healer card to Clash Royale. My card, if you force me to come up with a card of my own, it would be the smokescreen card. Some sort of card that actually obscures your opponent's field of view in a limited area for a very limited time. And of course, a card like that could become very overpowered, so I think it would have to be balanced very carefully. It would probably be a pretty short amount of time, or maybe it wouldn't obscure it completely. But anyway, forced to come up with an idea, that would be my idea. I'm sure that the Clash Royale team has much better new cards in mind, and I am looking forward to seeing new cards in Clash Royale and new troops in Clash of Clans that don't exist in the other game, seeing completely new spells and cards It is always a lot of fun, and it definitely expands the game. And speaking of which, I forgot to mention the furnace. We almost never see the furnace being used, so I would not be surprised if we saw that card getting a little bit of a buff, and maybe, just maybe, the bomb tower at lower levels, it might still be a little bit too powerful. And now on to my favorite and most exciting addition to Clash Royale that I would like to see personally, and that would be some sort of tournament added to the game. Now for me, the way I would design it, or the way I ideally would love to see it, is as an additional page on your screen. Now remember, as you thumb through your screen, the far right hand side is TV Royale. Well, if you try to flip one more page, it's almost like you can go to another page. It's like there's something there waiting to be added. Wouldn't it be amazing if that was a tournaments page and you could go there at any level and find tournaments ready to start that have other players of your similar level or card level that you could compete with? Now, my idea would involve keeping players online for a few minutes for a series of battles, so it might be problematic. I'm not sure if it's something they could implement, but the thought was, why not do, say, 8-person tournaments or 16-person tournaments? 8 might be more reasonable. Let's say it costs 50 gold to enter an 8-person tournament, and the winner gets, you know, all of the gold, or the winner gets the biggest prize and maybe second place gets the second biggest prize. And obviously with 8 players, you will have 4 matches of those players facing each other, and then it'll get narrowed down to 4, narrowed down to 2. One final match determines the winner. It's almost like a poker tournament that you would see online, and it would be single elimination. And with something like that, if it were only 8 players, you could have thousands of these tournaments running at the same time. If you guys have ever seen the game Fun Run, where you join the queue with, I think it's 3 other players or 4 other players, and you race across the screen, it would be the same fundamental idea. You join a queue until 7 other players at your level have joined, and then the tournament begins. So it would require a commitment of being online for like 10 minutes or so, but I'm not sure if that's too much to ask. If not, I think that would be an ideal way to do it. But in any case, I do expect some sort of additional tournament being added to Clash Royale. I just don't know what it's going to be. So here we are on to the third replay. This one is my level 9 account. Now again, I have a level 13 maxed out account that I've obviously gemmed a lot, and I have this level 9 account that I have gemmed some, and then I also have 2 free-to-play accounts that I have not spent a single penny on. Also, we have Galamom and Galawife. Neither one of them have ever bought any gems, and I'm having fun on all of the accounts. But the problem right now is that the meta is such that you really don't see more than about 3, maybe 4 decks. You see the Hog deck that I'm using, a Hog cycle or a version of it. You see the Minor Mini P.E.K.K.A deck that I am facing right now from my opponent Simon. Then obviously you see a lot of Royal Giants, and then maybe a few Golems, and just recently I've seen a little bit of, say, Giant 3 Musketeer or Giant Balloon. Again, the game is young, you guys. I would expect that things are going to continue to diverge, and we will see a more broad spectrum of decks in the future as there are more cards. Think about it, when there's 108 cards versus 54, how many more possible combinations there will be. The problem is, it's frustrating, and that is that you run into these decks that counter your decks so frequently because there's not a huge diversity of decks being used. When there is this greater diversity, then you're going to be less likely to, say, run into a deck that you see a third of the time, because you're going to be seeing so many different decks, and that is really what I'm looking forward to with the coming updates. Not just the next update that adds cards, and I don't know when that's going to be, but all of the future updates that we expect to see, and the balancing changes as well. Now, on one more note, that would be the idea of how slow it is to progress, say, right around level 8, how difficult it is to get chests open, the whole chest lock idea. I don't know what's going to happen with that. I know that a lot of players would like to see the chests open more quickly, or an ability to, say, trash chests. I have heard that one a lot. The idea that if you don't want that silver chest, go ahead and dump it, discard it, and open up that slot so that you can maybe pick up a gold chest. I really like that idea, and I would think that would be an easy one to add. As far as accelerating chest times or combining chests, like if you had 3 silver chests, you can make it into a gold, that sort of thing. I don't know if that's going to happen. Again, it's just the Gala Crystal Ball. Let me know what you guys think. What are your thoughts on the coming updates and balance changes? And as always, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for helping me reach over 1.2 million subscribers. I cannot believe it. I am thankful every single day. And speaking of days, I hope to see you all back here again tomorrow for more Full Attacks.
Gally Dom, 1.2 million. You're welcome. You know they listen to the end for me, not you.